Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, welcome back. So on my last episode, I did talk about illustrated novels and thinking about something I don't like, but that it reminds me of, which is light novels. Light novels can be defined as a novel written by someone who has sense enough to know that he can't draw, but not sense enough to know that he can't write. So he, without any experience or practice, puts down 80,000 words into a book with a lot of anime and manga themes and fires it off onto the internet, and for some reason everyone loves it and it gets made into a manga and gets a professional publishing deal, and the rest is history. Now, I'm not sure how these things are translated, if it's just some random nobody who does it, or if it's just the intern who happens to speak Japanese, or if someone gets a translation through Google Translate and then tries to turn that into a novel, but they're almost invariably written horribly. So we're going to go ahead and just, I'm going to do things a little differently. Instead of trying to read multiple, or rather, instead of reading one, I'm going to read just a little snippets of multiple ones and see if we can find one that has a single I'm going to read like the first 2 paragraphs or the first 100 or 200 words of each one. See if any of them at least make me say, oh, okay, that's not bad. So we're just going to make it fair, more or less, we're going to go to Amazon.com and we're just going to type light novel. And I'm going to ignore the ones that say sponsored, and we're just going to read the first few ones that appear on the front page. Now, presumably, these are really popular, so they should be excellent. Like, they should be the creme of the crop of light novels, right? Or at least ones that should be good enough that they should be able to capture one's attention and be interesting right away. Otherwise, how would they have gotten such popular appeal? Okay, so this first one's called The Eminence in Shadow, Volume 1, parenthetical addendum light novel, parenthetical addendum The Eminence in Shadow, parenthetical addendum inside a parenthetical addendum light novel, close parenthesis, comma, the number 1, close outward parenthesis, hardcover. Okay, and this is hardcover, so you know that the guy who wrote this has made it big, okay? He's probably a gazillionaire at this point. So I clicked on it, and let's see, it says, I think this is like the first page. It's like a splash page, but it just has text on it, which fair enough. It says preparing the perfect stage, prologue. And then it says prologue, preparing the perfect stage, exclamation point, because every one of these light novels has to have this zany punctuation and use exclamation points everywhere. And they're usually written in first person. I like first person, but I grew up on Louis L'Amour, so I'm accustomed to excellent first person writing, in the Dresden Files. So let's just read the first not even the whole first page. We're just going to read up until this section down here, which I will put on the screen for you so you know what I'm talking about. I honestly can't remember what catalyzed this desire. All I know is I've admired shadow brokers for as long as I can remember. Was it a certain anime? Or was it a manga? Or a movie? I guess it doesn't matter. I was all in for anything that featured a mastermind, or an eminence in shadow, as I like to call them. These characters were never the protagonists or final bosses, but were relegated to a role behind the scenes, where they flaunted their powers and meddled in the affairs of others. So far the writing's okay, but I'm a little confused. I was all in for anything that featured a mastermind. So I guess he's trying to say, I really don't know what he's talking about. So shadow brokers. So the first thing he says, all I know is I've admired shadow brokers. So he hasn't told us what it is yet. He just says, I've admired it. And then he says, was it a certain anime, or was it a manga or a movie? Which is presumably him saying, I don't know what it was that made me admire them. It might have been an anime or a manga or a movie. And then he says it doesn't matter. And then he says, I was all in for anything that featured a mastermind, or whatever that is, or whoever that is, or an eminence in shadow, as I like to call it. Yeah, but what is it? These characters, what characters? You haven't explained anything. Okay, so I think we can just safely say that one bloody is not very good at explaining itself. So let's just skip to the next one. Like, I hate that one. So the next one's actually a volume 3. I'd rather start at a volume 1. So we're going to go to By the Grace of the Gods, volume 1. It has 376 ratings, which means it probably has tens of thousands of sales, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm clicking on it, and it's got a nice little cover art. It's the kind of art that I pretty much want for my book, even though I've heard from novelists that you shouldn't have a cover art that looks like it could be a manga or a comic book, because you are going to be you're going to be appealing to the wrong demographic. So basically someone's going to see it, think it's a manga or a comic, click it, realize it's a novel and go, ugh, and then click off. But if someone's looking for a novel, they're going to see it and say, oh, well, that's a manga or something, so I'm going to skip past that. I can understand that. Maybe I'll have to have the person I have draw it do it in a particular way where it somehow implies that it's a novel by the style. I don't bloody know. Oh, wait. Okay, for a second I thought this actually was a comic, but actually it's just several pages of art at the beginning. If this were the art of the manga, yeah, it would not be. I mean, it's not bad art. It's just something about it is a little I don't know. Anyway, prologue. Of course, they all bloody have to have a prologue. A lot of people say don't ever write a prologue. People skip prologues. Well, I don't think people just out of hand skip prologues, but as long as the prologue is interesting. I mean, you can make the prologue anything you want. You could literally just rename prologue to chapter 1. And a lot of times it would be the exact same thing. So anyway, prologue 1. A single man stood alone in an empty space. His bone-tired face and streaks of white visible in his hair made his age seem to... Sorry, my phone buzzed. His bone-tired face and streaks of white visible in his hair made his age seem to be in his late 40s or 50s. Wow! Okay, you would think I intentionally picked these because they look like they were translated by someone... They were written by a Japanese guy who doesn't speak English, and then translated by a Japanese guy whose third or fourth language is English, and he never really made it through the class fully. His bone-tired face. Now, I'm not going to pick on that too much, because even in normal English-written books, you'll oftentimes ascribe the emotion to the feature instead of to the person, so obviously his face isn't actually tired, but, it works. It's fine. But he says his bone-tired face and streaks of white visible in his hair. I don't understand precisely why that doesn't work, but it doesn't work. How I would have written it is his bone-tired face and hair streaked with white made his age seem to be in his late 40s or 50s. Also, I would not say made his age seem to be. Like, what is this, a 12-year-old writing this who doesn't have a vocabulary extensive enough for him to express himself adequately? All you have to... that's ridiculous. And I'll throw up on the screen my correction, because if I correct everything, it's going to take forever, and I'm never going to get done with this. So I'm already 8.5 minutes in, so let's continue. I mean, do I need to read any more? Do I need to read any more of this? But contrary to his appearance from the neck up, ellipsis, no, I'm not reading any more of it. It's garbage. I hate it. It's just bad. It's terrible. Okay, 86, Volume 1. The title of this one is 86... 2 hyphens, and then written out alphabetically. Numerically, alphabetically. Anyway, 86, Volume 1, parenthetical addendum, light novel, close parenthetical addendum. Second parenthetical addendum, the same title we just read, the numbers 86, 2 hyphens. Why he couldn't just use an M dash, I don't know. 86, all in capital letters. Parenthetical addendum inside a parenthetical addendum, light novel, close first inward parenthetical addendum, comma, number 1, close outward parenthetical addendum. Why am I doing this to myself? Okay, again, art that I love, but that writers would probably tell you not to do. A mini comic at the beginning, I'm assuming. The comic is actually many pages long. Okay, so that was just a bunch of comic. Oh, that was just like a comic. Let's see, it says, was this a comic or... That mentions Comixology, so maybe that was actually... It says light novel, though. So that... What am I doing? Okay, let me go to the next one here. Re-Zero, Starting Life in Another World. Forget reading the title, although this one's titled just Re-Zero, Starting Life in Another World, Volume 1. There we go. That's good. A reasonable title. You know what? This one has a leg up on a lot of other ones. I love the art of this one, which of course you'll see on the screen. It's beautiful. I love the coloring. Very nice. Scrolling down, okay, it's doing a thing where it shows the characters at the beginning because it's trying to pretend that it's a comic. Okay, prologue, the waste heat of the beginning. Do I even need to read any of the prose after reading that title? And I really hope I'm not clipping the mic because I'm really loving the episode so far. I do see that I've clipped My audio has clipped a few times, but hopefully it's fine. I know the audio is not going to be the best in this episode anyway, because I have a really jerry-rigged setup so I can talk into this and not have to use my hands because I need to scroll around and look at the pages. Okay, M dash at the beginning, for some reason, and all this first sentence is in italics. This is really, really not good. Need I read more? Okay, next paragraph. Feeling the hard texture of the ground against his face, he realized that he had fallen face down on the ground. He couldn't move even when he tried, and he already couldn't feel his fingers. What does that even mean? He already couldn't feel... He only just now realized that he was awake. Yet this sentence implies, this clause implies that he's been there awake for a while, or for a very short time, and he already couldn't feel his fingers. But no, that's not what the first sentence said. There's a logical disconnect between the beginning and the end, the first sentence and the second sentence in the same paragraph. You know how sentences have to be a complete thought, and if you have multiple clauses or what have you, all of them need to be contributing to the thought? Well, paragraphs are kind of like that too. Paragraphs, a little bit more loosely than sentences, should be all contributing to a single idea. This has failed, and there's no reason for me to read it anymore. That one's total garbage. But hey guys, I'm sure the next one is going to be fantastic. It's called Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. Okay, here we go. This is the one. I can feel it actually I can feel it deep in me. Okay. Oh, look, there's a little I don't know what this is called. There's like a quote at the beginning before the story actually starts. A little quote at the top. It says, quote, "We should kiss," unquote. She was always teasing me like that, but not long after she said those words, she disappeared. You could say that this is just a typical love story. Me, a girl, girls. That's all there is to it, really. Oh, really? Is that all there is to it? Well, need I read any more? Chapter 1, Senpai is Bunny Girl. Also, I notice I keep asking, need I read more? But then I could proceed to read even more. So either I'm a glutton for punishment, or in my mind's eye, everyone is insisting that I continue reading more. Okay, I'm scrolling and scrolling, but there's just like a blank page. Like there are no words in this book. Is it my computer? I don't know what's going on. No? There are no words. There's no sample. There is no sample. And you know what? I had that feeling deep in my gut. Must have just been gas. Because I you know what? Maybe that was the one. Maybe that one was amazing. But I'll never know. Oh, and there's a manga of this same series. Okay, look, look, I do want to see what this is like. So let's go to the second novel in that same series. And I'm scrolling. Oh wait, a preview of the print book is currently not available. This is view of the Kindle edition. Okay, well, there's nothing on this one either. It's just blank. Except for like the copyright and the table of contents. Wait, let me click. Okay, if I click, nothing happens. So yeah, so we don't get to see this one. This series is forever out of our reach. Okay, this one's called The Game Master Has Logged Into Another World, Volume 1 light novel, which, now this is your classic light novel stuff. You know, video game, you get trapped into the world or whatever, and then you're the most powerful son of a gun in the universe. Okay, so this has got a little comic at the beginning, table of contents. Okay, actual text. So this one's got a leg up on that last one, just because it actually has words in it. I hear that in, like, the first requirement of a novel is that there be words. So this guy studied his stuff. He went to school. Okay, 1. Not chapter 1, just 1. So I'm assuming it's chapter 1, but maybe it's just 1. I hear the event won't fire for some of you. Are you sure you triggered the NPC? I hear the event won't fire for some of you. Why not? I feel like trigger is the best word right here. I feel like he should have said trigger. But then maybe it's because he said, are you sure you triggered the NPC? So maybe he didn't want to use the word triggered twice. So he just used fire here. There are so many ways to rectify this without going for the odd won't fire for some of you. Maybe it's like a tradition in light novels that are about this topic. to simply use the word fire in this context, and I'm just out of the loop? Very well may be the case. Quote, I thought so, but, oh, wait, remember how before we tried? It was 10 at night. I sat in an empty room, illuminated only by the lamp above me and the glow of my screen. I'm Masaki Tudu. Taodao? I don't know anything about Japanese, okay, guys? A game master. GM for short. Okay, well, how come you're going to tell me why are you going to tell me the initial GM? You're going to explain that to me, which everyone bloody knows, but you're not going to give me a legend or a pronunciation key for your name. That'd be helpful. Many players took issue with my occupation, but I didn't let it get to me. I was satisfied with my job. What? What are you talking about? Why would anyone take an issue with you being a game master? Are you going to explain that? Are you going to say, why? Are you the only game master? Are game masters reviled? Do we need them? We don't need them, but you just decided to be one, and everyone's like, oh, crud, here we go. Another one of these chump game masters. We just want to play and have fun, and you're coming in and insinuating your rules into things. Is that what's going on? Outside of my job was another night of overtime, a constant in my understaffed department. I'd had to quickly adjust the long shift, so this was nothing new. It was another night of overtime, a constant in my understaffed department. I'd had to quickly adjust the long shift, so this was nothing new. Well, no, that's not characterization. That's not meaningful. Because you had to adjust the long shift, it was nothing new? No, okay? What you meant to say is, this was nothing new, and I had quickly learned to it, or I had quickly adjusted. But how you phrase this doesn't make any dang sense, because it seems to imply that because you adjusted, it was nothing new. Okay? But that's it. The reason it was nothing new is because it keeps happening. That's what you're putting two things that don't make sense together. Just like most of these books I read that are written by people who don't know how to write. Yet somehow they get published, and I'm stuck here doing YouTube videos that never even get watched. Okay, that's Loaded Tribal episode 6. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye.